Hi, welcome to the pilot episode of a series I'd like to make where we look at the potential positive outcomes of various emerging technologies. This first episode is going to be somewhat dual purpose as I'll be explaining my own project, the PyGrow, talking about its future development and looking at potential benefits of automated home gardening. In this series I'll be focusing almost entirely on the potential benefits of new tech because the internet's already full of doom and gloom. Whenever any new technology is talked about, there's a chorus of voices prophesying the end of the world because of it. I want to help give people good things to look forward to and inspire hope for the future. I do think a better future is possible, but not certain. It's something we absolutely need to strive for and work towards. When we have real and pragmatic hope, it not only gives us something to head towards, but also makes the current struggle feel more justified and worthwhile. As the Chinese author Lu Xun said, hope is like a path in the countryside. Originally there is nothing, but as people walk this way again and again, a path appears. We'll be looking at various paths to a better world, ways which we can work towards that world, and trying to find ways we can enjoy the early benefits of these technologies as they become available. To do this, I'll be utilising as many emerging technologies as possible, starting with Stable Diffusion, the AI image generator, which created the illustrations for this video. Hopefully, as the series progresses, we see a continued improvement in what's possible. So in my first video, I'll be looking at one of the things I've done the most research on, garden automation. My project, the PyGrow, uses a microcontroller to monitor sensors and control devices, which helps maintain the ideal conditions for plant growth. There are plenty of other options beside the PyGrow, of course, and some absolutely amazing things being done on the industrial level with vertical farms. So I'll try and talk about those also, but of course I'll be using my project as the main example. Currently, we can log various types of sensors, probably the most useful being temperature and humidity, as these have the biggest effect on the plant's growth. Plants grow best when they can draw the most amount of nutrients to where they need them, and they do this by sucking up water and letting it evaporate. This process, called transpiration, is similar to when we sweat, and as we all know, if it's too humid, the sweat doesn't evaporate. So maintaining ideal conditions helps the plants grow to their peak potential. To maintain these conditions, we can enable or disable fans, heaters, humidifiers, or whatever is required. This allows us to grow even the most difficult plants, whatever the climate or season. Though, of course, currently the cost of parts, materials and power is a limiting factor on cost effectiveness. You're unlikely to be able to grow lettuce cheaper than you can buy it, but for specialist plants, hobbyists, and certain use cases, it can open up a whole new world of possibilities. Being able to automatically water plants on a schedule is a great feature, as it makes it easy for absent-minded people like me, or busy people who often leave their house, unlike me, to grow plants without having to worry about watering them. Simply top up the tank whenever it sends you an alert, and it will maintain whatever schedule you set. I love plants, and I think there's something really nice about having them in your house. The smell of flowers and herbs is much nicer than a plug-in air freshener. Plus, having herbs growing, which you can add to cooking, really improves the taste of everything, even a cheese sandwich. Making it easier for people to have plants in their life is a great thing, and as the tech continues to evolve, it will only become ever more practical to have beautiful plants inside and outside your home. Another cool feature of an automated grow space is their ability to make time-lapse videos of the plants as they grow. This can be really useful in spotting problems, understanding the plant's health, watching them shift between growth stages, and detecting bugs or infections early. There's something really fascinating about watching plants grow in a time-lapse video. The way they move looking for light, stretch out, the way they slowly wilt as they run low on water, then spring back when fed. Seeing your plants like this can give you a whole new understanding and love for them. It can be a great educational tool and a way of better understanding and connecting with nature. Well, that's where it's at currently. It's a fairly light form of automation. It can water your plants for you and make sure they don't freeze or burn, but I'd like to work towards a much more complete form of automation and ease of use. I'm currently coding improvements to the GUI and working on adding support for new sensors and devices. For example, it will soon be able to automatically level a water tank's pH and mix nutrients. I'm working on adding more data visualization tools, so it's easy to keep track of grow conditions and to monitor activity of the devices. I'd also love to add some basic image analysis tools that use the camera to detect and log important data like height, leaf count or similar. That's the current state of development, which is possible at the moment, but let's consider the future. The PyGrow is a project I've spent a lot of time working on, a large portion of that time programming in Python. But of course, I'm very aware AI coding tools are soon going to make all of that work obsolete, and then slightly more advanced AI which, no doubt just around the corner, will totally remove the need for most, if not all of it. Instead of using the buttons in the GUI to call functions I've written to perform basic tasks, you'll simply be able to tell the computer what to do. Language-based models like ChatGPT are incredibly capable now and rapidly improving. You'll simply be able to say, "Computer, monitor the sensor I attached, and if it gets too cold for the plants, turn on the heater." It'll even be able to look up information about your plants to determine the ideal values. That certainly won't be the end of the project though, and we've got a lot to do before we get there. I've already started experimenting using AI-generated code. Honestly, I have to admit, if anything, it's mostly made the process slower and more awkward, but it can also be really useful at times, so I'm hoping as these tools improve and I learn how to best use them, it'll allow me to rapidly increase the rate which I'm able to add support for sensors, create new visualization tools, better device control, and generally improve all of the PyGrow tools. Beyond that, when we reach the point where coding these elements is a matter of simply asking the computer to do it for you, I'm looking forward to being able to focus on designing more complex tools. Tools that can do everything from planting seeds to harvesting in the most efficient and effective ways, making a whole set of growbox and garden devices that are open source, inexpensive to make, easy to use, flexible and fully customizable. I'm working on the principle that as new tools make the work I was doing before obsolete, they'll also allow me to increase the scope of my designs. Not only will I be able to use AI coding tools and benefit from the work others also using AI coding tools are adding to the commons, but I'll also be able to use other AI tools to help with things like designing electronics, 3D modelling, doing research and learning skills. We're also, of course, going to see continued development in other technologies, such as home fabrication, so we'll be able to make some really cool and interesting things. I don't want to get too off track, and we'll be covering all of these topics in future videos, but the key point is, whenever things get easier, we'll find a way to make them complex again. Living with this technology once fully evolved could be fantastic. Your house, a beautiful living space with lovely fresh flowers and delightful smelling herbs, exactly as you like it without the constant effort of maintaining it. Outside too, you could have beautiful garden spaces with lawns and flower beds and enclosed nooks with sweet smelling flowers to sit by and read. With smart enough robots, we'll be able to do really clever things like companion planting and crop mixing, crafting complex permaculture style gardens where each part benefits and feeds from each other. Traditional tools tend to require neat rows, but an AI can remember exactly where all the seeds are planted and can model growth times, sizes and etc. So it can model vegetables into flower gardens or create complex patterns. You'll be able to style your garden to your tastes and needs, whether that's geometric perfection or fallow beauty, however you want to express yourself or whatever your requirements are. Of course, it's not only food it would produce. Excess biomass can be turned into fuel or materials such as plastics like PLA. Coppice trees can produce lumber. Hemp fibre can be spun into material, paper, cardboard, all sorts of things. All of these tasks, of course, being things robots can be taught to do. This means, with minimal effort, even a relatively small garden or wall space could produce a lot of useful materials, which your AI could make into things for you to use or trade with. AI, of course, making these grey economy trades incredibly simple. Someone might, for example, want a certain quantity of cloth, so your AI chats to other local AIs and establishes an agreement to supply your store of processed hemp fibres to a third party whose robots are set up to weave it into cloth of the requested quality. Then, through a web of small trade agreements, it secures you some top quality watermelon that someone locally has grown. One larger scale possibility is automated management of city parks and green areas. Robots looking after and maintaining fruit and nut trees in communal areas or harvesting semi-wild fruits like blackberries would be possible. This food could be provided to the community, used to feed the hungry, or if not required for that, then processed in some way and traded with other areas for needed supplies. Again, this would also include the ability to harvest large amounts of excess biomass and lumber, which could be processed and used in local projects. Instead of costing the city money to maintain and run parks, it might become possible that they're actually producing enough bioplastic, fuel, solvents, oils and foodstuffs that they not only pay for their own upkeep, but are able to provide the stuff needed to build and run other community services. Another large-scale benefit is that robots tending crops in industrial agricultural settings could vastly reduce the amount of pesticides that are required. Complex companion planting systems would allow a reduction in the use of fertiliser and, if the systems are well designed, hopefully stop the current trend of depleting soil quality, essentially giving the benefits of letting a field lay fallow, while also deriving a high yield from it. But let's go back and imagine the computers looking after plants growing inside and outside your home. It's making sure they're all healthy and growing well, harvesting them and storing the produce for you. The most obvious benefit for this is going to enable people living busy lives to enjoy high quality homegrown food. Combined with robotic kitchen tools, it will mean that even your laziest option for food can be healthy, nutritious and inexpensive. You'll be able to lay on your sofa or message on your way back from seeing your friends and simply say, "Computer, can you cook me pasta?" It'll whirl into action, prepping veg, cooking everything to perfection, and then serve you up a perfect meal. This will have various effects in the world. The market for convenience foods will decline and it will reduce the amount of takeaway restaurants, though it will also improve the quality of those that do remain and lower the cost. We'll likely see many restaurants shift focus from the food to their experience. When they're all able to produce top quality meals, what will set them apart is the ambience and dining experience they can offer. Certain places will be growing rarer foods or have a better stock of bought foods. Some will have live music or other entertainments. There'll be very romantic places, relaxing places, business-focused places. Again, we can expect the robotic fabrication and construction tools to enable the creation of these different setups in beautiful and intricate ways. Also, with AI able to handle the booking and logistics, it will make it extremely easy to run a restaurant. With this in mind, we might see a lot of very small and individual places, as it will be possible for people to make a lovely spot for a romantic meal in their garden, and then open it up for business when they're not using it. The robots will prepare the food, serve the guests, look after everything, clean up afterwards. This would mean that while you're out enjoying drinks with friends, it could be that there's people in your garden being served food, and at the end of the night, you've earned about as much as you spend. So for individuals in a society with access to this technology, it will result in an improved diet, as they'll be able to have their robot kitchen prepare meals exactly to their tastes and requirements. You'll be able to set a calorie limit or special dietary restrictions, have it keep track of your fibre and protein intake to offer you a selection of meals that best meet your needs. Your computer saying to you, "What do you fancy for dinner tonight? Some good options include," then listing healthy meals that you have the ingredients for or can source locally. It's going to help a lot of people have healthier diets, especially people who currently eat poorly because they're either leading busy lives or for whatever reason are unable or unwilling to cook. One thing that I know well from growing up as a vegetarian and a picky eater is it can be annoying not being able to find the food you want to eat when out. So, being able to have your AI tell the AI chef exactly how to cook meals to your tastes and needs will make it so much easier for groups of people to meet and spend time together. This and other advances will hopefully make it much easier and more enjoyable for people to socialise, which will be reflected in increasing the amount of establishments catering to these desires, especially the micro-businesses mentioned a moment ago. People who enjoy running restaurants and working in the service industry will potentially be able to continue doing that. We talk about various economic models for post-scarcity in transitional societies in another video, but for things like restaurants, the general principle is fairly simple. As the cost of doing business and living comfortably falls, it makes it easier for individuals or small groups to run those businesses. The increased availability of cool places to go at affordable prices boosts the amount of people eating out, which gives all these efficiently run places the turnover required to be profitable. I actually think it opens up some really exciting possibilities. For example, combine all this with an automated Airbnb-style room renting system, especially with automated construction allowing it easy to build really cool little cabins or wherever you want to stay. It's easy to imagine yourself taking a lovely cycling trip, stopping at all these little cafes and restaurants, some of them with people that are running them, that are presenting really interesting experiences, some of them that are lively, some of them that are quiet. Whatever your interests, your desires, you can find things that other people are involved in also. And you'll be able to obviously work on your journey using the AI tools and all of these remote tools that we're already used to using now. It could be a beautiful future where we have so much more time to enjoy beauty, to enjoy nature, to socialise, to enjoy music, good food. The future is what you make it, and hopefully if we dream about these positive things and we think about these lovely possibilities, we can work towards making a beautiful future for everyone. If you want more visions of a brighter future, then like and subscribe. Feel free to prophesy doom in the comments and I'll try to address some of your points either there or in future videos. Have a lovely day.